Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing 2025 as sort of the DMZ year with regard to Thai tax. What are we talking about here? Well, there's a lot of nonsense going around across the internet. I've done videos about this. A lot of interlopers here in Thailand who are operating illegally, especially illegal foreign tax agents who are operating illegally here in Thailand. I've been referring to them as stamp pimps. If you look at the literature of the United States, especially around the Revolution times, even before the Revolution times, having to deal with the stamp tax, etc., you can look up my video on the stamp pimps. There's some interesting stuff about that. See a lot of analogs to that these days. That being said, the point of this video is issues surrounding basically the notion that, okay, we've got this tax situation going here in Thailand. What exactly is it looking like moving forward? Now, there are people that are going to say, oh, it's a hard and fast rule. Now, everybody has to file, da-da-da-da-da. Look, again, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to, I've seen a lot of emails on this. I'm not dying on the hill that you don't have to get a tax ID number. And I'm not dying on the hill that you don't necessarily have to file a tax return. Here's the hill I'm dying on. It all depends on your circumstances. And again, take with a great big grain of salt anybody out there who's giving one-size-fits-all tax advice. Meanwhile, I did another video contemporaneously with this one where I asked the question, you wanted free tax advice, you get what you pay for. If you want free tax advice, you're going to get somebody who's going to tell you, oh, you got to pay and you got to use us to sign up for the documentation or whatever. Because that's primarily what's happening and what I can only describe as this con right now, okay? And long story short, you may not have to. Again, it may depend on your circumstances. You may be analyzed and, oh my gosh, you do have to file a return. I'm not dying on the hill of you don't have to file. I'm dying on the hill of the notion that, again, there is no one-size-fits-all analysis for taxes. It's just not how it works, just generally speaking. It's never been how I've ever thought how any kind of legal analysis works. It's what you're taught pretty much from the get-go in any kind of legal education, frankly. Now, that being said, again, at the end of the day, I'm calling this the DMZ year because we see Trump coming in. Yes, thankfully, Yellen is on her way out, which notably, she leaves the country completely bankrupt as of Trump's first day in office. The country is insolvent. It's hit its debt ceiling as of Trump's first full day, by the way. I just saw that on Twitter a few hours ago. So thanks a lot, Miss Yellen. Really, kudos to you, ma'am. In any event, the point I'm trying to make is this is the DMZ year to my mind. This notion that we all have to pay a global minimum tax for being born, I think that's being thrown aside because, again, the Trump mandate, Yellen and all of that is being thrown out. And now we're seeing Trump coming in talking about this external revenue service, exactly what that looks like. It's probably going to require a massive overhaul, but we're probably not going to see it until next year. So the point I'm trying to make is, again, I think the analysis that you can do a one-size-fits-all analysis over everybody or a large swath of people is bogus. Secondly, the other thing I see is there's no affirmative duty to file a tax return in Thailand unless you may or may not have an obligation to do so because you made some sort of money. Meanwhile, as we've discussed in other videos, I don't think the surveillance technology is there. And again, I don't think the legal mandate is there for what a lot of these people, again, for lack of a better term, stamp pimps are out there saying when they say, oh, you need to get a tax ID number. You may not. Again, it may depend on your circumstances. You may not need to do that. But moving forward into, and again, he may be thwarted in this. Trump may not get this done. This would require Congress, I would presume, and this may not happen. So it remains to be seen. But for at least for now, I think 2025 reasonable people can disagree on tax analysis with regard to folks in this year and arguably last year as well. But looking forward, I think from 2026 on, we're going to have a much clearer idea of what the tax regime, especially Americans in Thailand, etc., is going to look like, but we're not there yet. So no point in making drastic measures right now until we've seen what's going to happen, and we will certainly be keeping people updated on this channel as the situation evolves.